Hey guys, welcome back. So I thought this week we would do something a little bit different. We're gonna actually dive into the most popular questions that you guys have asked me over the years regarding narcissism. I have done so many videos on this channel regarding narcissism. So I said, let's put all of those videos really into one, but I'm gonna go rapid fire with this. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail on every single one of these questions, but you will definitely understand more about narcissism than you ever have before having watched this video. If you are new here and you've never seen any of my videos before, welcome. My name is Stephanie. I'm a life and relationship coach, and I'm telling you guys, you need to be subscribed. We talk about so many things on this channel, regardless of narcissism. We talk about codependency, we talk about mental health. This is about motivation, education, inspiration, all the good stuff that'll get you to where you need to be. So the first question, what is narcissistic abuse? Narcissistic abuse refers to psychological manipulation, emotional exploitation. This is where you are dealing with someone obviously who's narcissistic, someone who completely lacks empathy. When you're talking about any kind of abuse, whether you're talking about sexual abuse, physical abuse, narcissistic abuse, emotional abuse, the key with abuse is control. This person is seeking control. Now, the way they go about gaining that control really is the type of abuse that they're going to use. So is it going to be physical? Is it going to be psychological? Is it going to be emotional? Like what type of abuse is this person doing on me to gain control over me? So unfortunately, a lot of people don't even know what manipulation is. They don't know psychological manipulation. They don't know gaslighting. They don't have a strong sense of self because they're not healed, because they are still wounded, and they're carrying all that stuff around with them, and they have absolutely no idea. So now they have this person in their life, whether it's a mother, father, partner, friend, whoever, that is hurting them in a way that a lot of times we can't even tell because there are no physical scars. That's the most dangerous thing with emotional abuse, manipulation, narcissistic abuse, is that there's no real scars that you can say, oh, look, this person put their hand on me. It's all psychological. Next question. How do I identify someone who is narcissistic? So if you've watched any videos on narcissism, you guys will know by now that the number one trait is what? Lack of empathy. There we go. So someone who has a lack of empathy is someone who has either narcissistic tendencies or is a full-blown narcissist. There are different types of narcissism. So remember, narcissism is the way that I exploit people, the way that I take advantage, try to control. And so my tactics are different depending on the type of narcissist that I am. So if you're dealing with someone who is an overt, you're going to see it very clearly. It's going to be very obvious to you. So you're going to see that lack of empathy really quick. If you're dealing with someone who's covert, you may not see it that quickly. So this is where I will talk to anyone who has been with someone who's narcissistic that has been with a covert, and they'll say, wait a minute, like they had empathy in the beginning, like they were caring, like they were nice. They were not this excessively give me attention type of person. And the thing that they were really missing is the way in which they were being manipulated. You're dealing with someone who's a little grandiose, when you're dealing with like a high sense of self, like self-importance, I need attention, it's all about me, that is very obvious to spot. When you're dealing with someone who's like, I'm the victim, woe is me, give me attention, and it's done in a little bit of a more conniving, not as obvious type of way, it's very hard to spot, which means you're also going to really struggle with being able to tell when they are lacking that empathy, because it's not going to be something that's just like cutthroat and mean. It's going to be a little bit more deceiving to spot. The beauty of all relationships is that over time, you do get to see who a person really is. You do get to see true colors. The part that needs to happen with anyone, regardless of who the person is that you always have to understand that you are in charge of you. So regardless of how much you trust this person in front of you, I've been with them for 30 years and I love them so much, you can never put all of yourself into someone so badly that you start to overlook things that you should not be overlooking. What that means is you actually have to be healthy. So you have to practice being healthy, having a strong sense of self. If you practice that long enough and you have that strong sense of self, you'll be able to spot someone who's narcissistic very easily. It won't be something that is hard to do. All right, next question. What are the signs that I am being abused by a narcissist? I'm not gonna even give you the textbook answer of, well, they're gonna criticize you a lot and oh, they're gonna chip away at your self-esteem. Like, what I want you to start learning is how do you feel when you're around certain people? I'm telling you, intuition is your best friend, because there's always that little voice that goes, this person is draining, this person doesn't listen or validate me, or this person has no empathy, or this person is self-absorbed, or this person takes advantage of me often. Like, your intuition is always knocking on the door telling you like, hey, this doesn't feel good. And that's a person that you shouldn't be near. But if you're looking for the exact textbook signs, the signs that you're being abused is when you go to tell someone what you think and how you feel, are they able to sit in a space with you and validate that without getting defensive? Do they make you feel bad for who you are? Do they belittle you? Do they criticize you? Do you feel more insecure now that you've been around this person? Do you not feel like yourself when you've been around this person? Do you feel like you can't trust this person? Do you feel like you don't even know who this person is because you feel like they have a little bit of a wall up? Like, how authentic is your relationship with this person? Let's just start there. Next question. Why do narcissists abuse others? Narcissism, like I said earlier, is about control. It is about being able to feed myself. Look at it this way. Someone who's narcissistic, it's a little bit different than sexual abuse and physical abuse, because those types of abuse tactics they're all about control, but those are very much about control. And usually they even sometimes start with anger and then they go into those spaces. Someone who is narcissistic, when they use their tactics like manipulation, gaslighting, all of those types of things, they're doing it for two reasons. Number one, you're going to put me above you, where you look at me in awe. This makes me feel good about myself because it gives me a lot of self-esteem to know that I am more important than you, that I am better than you. So now you're talking about a person who is very insecure, because only an insecure person needs to feel as though they are better to anyone in any area of life. If you look at me in that way, that also means that when I try to gaslight you or manipulate you or control you in those psychological ways, that you'll take the bait. You're going to believe what I say because I am a god to you. I am above you. I am better than you. I know more than you. I come from a better family than you. Like, whatever it is, whatever the reasons are that you put this person above you are the reasons why they continue to do what they're doing, because they want you to listen to them and believe them over your own self. This can only work with a person who is codependent, who doesn't have a strong sense of self, which means I don't know who I am, I don't know what I think, I don't know what I feel. I might here and there, but I'm never really honing in on it. I always trust you over me. This control that they're seeking is to basically just do whatever they want. I want to be able to do whatever I want, abuse you in any way, get highs from wherever I need to get highs from, and you don't hold me accountable. You just let me do whatever I need to do. You tell me exactly what I want to hear. You look at me in such a godlike way, which means no accountability. I'm perfect. I do nothing wrong. So if you can do those things for me, then you are filling me up in such a way that I don't know how to do for myself. The reason why a narcissist will do any of these things whatsoever is because of severe childhood trauma that they don't even realize is living inside of them. You or I could sit back and say, okay, let's be honest, let's be real. What are our issues? Okay, I have a little bit of insecurity. I have a little bit of abandonment. Okay, well, dad pieced out when I was 4, so I've always had this issue with men. Like, you can sit down right now and really understand where your issues are. Like, what are the things that you probably are still working on? Because guess what? This stuff is a journey. It's not something that you're just gonna read one book and then boom, I have great mental health. I've healed all my stuff. You're dealing with a person who is just like you, in the sense that they're absolutely wounded, that they did not get what they need growing up, that they do not have a solid foundation of what it means to be healthy and how to do that themselves, rather than needing these highs and this narcissistic supply. But you're missing one really important thing. They can't own it. They can't own that they're not perfect. They can't own that they have issues. They do not. It's like a brick wall. There's no way that person's gonna let that wall down to say, you know what? I'm a little messed up. I'm not gonna lie. I probably need some therapy and need some help. And even if you're dealing with someone who can actually say, I'm not the healthiest person, I need a little help, I need to work on this. You guys know, because you're watching these videos, like, it is no joke to change some stuff that you're trying to change within yourself. So just the average person struggles with this stuff, let alone someone who has so deeply and for such a long time suppressed all of that stuff that it is buried so deep now that it will be impossible to actually bring that stuff to the surface. All right, next question. How does gaslighting work in narcissistic abuse? Gaslighting is all about making you doubt yourself, whether you're doubting your own reality, doubting what you think, doubting what your truth is. It doesn't even have to be the actual truth. It could be, but it's just about what your truth is. So this person is kind of twisting things around to really give you a question mark when it has to do with your pain, your feelings, your thoughts, your memories, your interpretation, your perception of what happened, like all of those things. Most healthy people, it's actually healthy to have that little bit of self-doubt because otherwise you'd be narcissistic. But the minute self-doubt happens, you usually have this little voice that goes, no, I think this. If you are not listening to that voice enough, then you're not building that muscle, which is having a strong sense of self. And so if you're not listening to that voice enough, there's another voice that has to come in and take its place. And whose voice is it going to be? The narcissist. The more this person starts to control those perceptions, your thoughts, your feelings, your realities, that is the ultimate psychological control. And that is extremely dangerous. All right, next question. You guys, I think this is probably one of the most asked questions ever is, can a narcissist change? No, like I mentioned, it is almost pretty much impossible for this person to change because of that brick wall that's in front of them. Like I said, the average person who wants to self-reflect, who wants to go to therapy. I mean, I'm on the phone with you guys. You guys will call and we'll get on the phone and this person's like, hey, look, I really want to change this about myself. I don't like that I do this and this didn't work out in this relationship and I'm nervous about this and I need to have more confidence to do that. Like you're trying to really work on yourself. And that stuff takes time because what you're trying to do is reprogram that subconscious mind. You're trying to heal some emotional wounds. You're trying to reprogram the subconscious mind. And guess what? You're doing them both at the same time, but it takes work. It's not like, all right, give me a week of like full intensity reprogramming of the subconscious mind and boom, I'm never going to have a weed ever grow again or show up again. Not going to happen. It is literally a lifelong journey. And you have to take responsibility for that journey. You have to take responsibility for those weeds that show up. So only a person who can really take accountability for themselves is going to be able to change. Someone might say they can change or they want to change. Someone might even be able to own all of their flaws. It doesn't mean anything is actually going to change. Instead, what this person will do, and quite frankly, what most people do is, especially when it comes to romantic relationships, is they will just leave situations that no longer feel good, which i.e. means I'm getting challenged and I have to work on myself in order to be in this situation. And so instead of doing any of that work, I'd rather just discard you. I'd rather not have you as a friend. I'd rather, just leave this job completely than doing any little bit of work on myself. All right, next question. What impact does narcissistic abuse have on victims? Well, that is a loaded question. Okay, rapid fire: anxiety, depression, PTSD, low self-esteem, fear of abandonment. There is no way coming out of any type of narcissistic relationship, I don't care if it's your mother, your father, your friend that you've only had for 2 years, a partner, I don't care who it is, you will have some type of emotional or mental issue coming out of that relationship. Absolutely, no doubt about it. You cannot be around that person for that amount of time, I don't care if it's a short amount of time or a long amount of time, and not have some scars, because it is your job to be surrounding yourself with healthiness. So who you surround yourself with has a lot to do on your mental health. That's why one of the things that we say all the time that you've heard 1,000 times is, go no contact. But if you can't go no contact, you can definitely learn a lot of things that will be so extremely beneficial to you going forward for the rest of your life. But obviously the easiest thing to do would be to just go no contact, because it is so hard to be around this person and have them not trigger you in any way. Next question, how can I protect myself from narcissistic abuse? Well, if you know this type of abuse really well and you're like, all right, Steph, I got it. Like manipulation, lack of empathy, like I'm fully there. Now what do I do? The one thing that this person will help you do really well, and this is where I really do believe that there are certain people that come into your life to teach you certain things. I wholeheartedly believe that. Unfortunately, sometimes they're going to teach you these things through giving you a lot of pain and being extremely uncomfortable. Not every person is going to teach you what unconditional love feels like, because while it's amazing and it will heal you and all of those things, there are the best lessons I think sometimes that you learn, unfortunately, come from a lot of pain and you being uncomfortable. So the first thing that you absolutely have to learn how to do if you are trying to really protect yourself, if you cannot go no contact, is boundaries. Yes, you can limit contact as much as humanly possible. Maybe you're just dealing with them over email or text. Try not to have any face-to-face verbal communication, but boundaries is going to be your best friend, and probably boundaries are something that you've really struggled with in the past. Is it possible to have a healthy relationship with someone who's narcissistic? No, you're not going to have a healthy relationship because you're dealing with a taker. You're dealing with a person who is a taker and doesn't even realize that they are a taker. You're dealing with someone who has made it your job and mission to give you everything emotionally, mentally, make me feel good inside. You're dealing with an addict, essentially. So you cannot have a healthy relationship with someone who is that dependent on narcissistic supply and these highs in order to feel good. Because if you're dealing with an addict, you're never going to actually get true authenticity, because the drug is what is showcasing their personality in a way. And the same is true for someone who's narcissistic. What should I do if I suspect I'm in a relationship with someone who is narcissistic? Well, I think the first thing, if you can't just like leave the relationship, you're invested, you're married, you're living together, whatever that is you're going to have to start working on those boundaries. The thing with boundaries, when you have to deal with this person, is you're going to get a lot of pushback, because now you're going to start changing and becoming a different person, and this person is not going to like it. So you are going to get a narcissistic injury, meaning you used to give this person something, you used to think they were absolutely amazing, and now you're holding them accountable. You're starting to have boundaries and they just don't like it, and so you're going to get backlash. A narcissistic injury is essentially you now not giving them something that they really want. Now you're taking what you used to give them away, and they're not gonna like that. So you're gonna get a little pushback here and there. The chances of a relationship really working out with someone who's narcissistic in the long run, even if you're 10 years into this marriage and you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? The only way this is ever going to work, honestly, is if you're willing to suppress yourself for the rest of your life. All right, last question. What resources are available for victims of narcissistic abuse? Like, meaning, what am I gonna do now? So look, I always tell people education is the most important thing in the world, and that's what you're doing here by even watching these types of videos. You absolutely have got to work on yourself, because boundaries, understanding gaslighting, being able to handle someone when they are narcissistic and not shut down yourself or not become reactive or not take on their abuse or their backlash, like all of those things, that requires work on your part. And while it may sound absolutely exhausting and maybe you don't want to do any of this work, here's the thing, you need to also heal some stuff inside of you. It can't just always be about this person and understanding that they're narcissistic and that this is what's wrong with them. Like, let's dig a little deeper. Like, what is going on inside of you that you have allowed this person to have that level of control over you, that maybe you even like brought this person into your world, whether it's a friend or a partner? What was going on inside of you that made you even pick this person? How do you handle yourself when you are around this person? Understanding your standards, your boundaries, really learning how to communicate in a healthy way. Those are going to be golden nuggets that you're going to need to learn to have any type of healthy relationship, really, with anyone. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's video. It was definitely a little rapid fire, but I'm glad we got through the most important questions that you guys have asked me over the years. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like this video and share it. Comment down below on any video topics that you would like me to cover in the future. I wish you guys all the best, and we are doing 20% off all of my online courses the entire month of August. So use code THRIVE20. I will link everything down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.